Let's talk about the Quincy Jones interview that he did, we'll say sometime early 2018.
Where them kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying? Cecil.
In the interest of keeping things at least at the most, at the worst, PG on this channel, I will be a little vague as I'm introducing this. Some of the things that Quincy Jones said in this interview that came out in February 2018, from him talking about how he said he dated Ivanka Trump. And where he revealed some things a lot of people hadn't known about the orientation of Richard Pryor and a few other celebrities. There were some things that he said in the interview article that I read that I felt were spot on. Not just because I know they happen in music, but it was something that we could also learn from in the martial arts. So this was the one that was ran on vulture.com. And the main topics are basically laziness and not wanting to go back and see what your progenitors did for your current day craft. He's talking about music, but I'm going to twist it for us to the martial arts. How does laziness manifest itself, he was asked. Listen to the music. These guys don't know what they're doing. You got to respect the gift God gave you by learning your craft. And, sometimes I'm guilty of this as well. Like, I'd rather spar or just rather do the techniques I know are good or spend more time trying to get rid of this belly I got rather than honing my craft and practicing my basics over and over again. See, when I was very young, like 30 years ago, I had a class where we did no forms. I was in a class where we did no forms. And I liked that because we basically just spent most of our time punching and kicking at each other. Now, even though I don't agree with that approach, and I've said this to that teacher, I'm glad he did that though, because by learning how to get in touch with my body and my own natural reflexes, it's the reason why I can see when years later I was in class and someone tried to take my eye out. So learning how to get in touch with yourself is good. But one thing that I know really helped me get to the ultimate level, when all was said and done, was forms. Going over the forms that were developed in the style that I was studying. If you are in a punch kick style and it's not from China, if it's from Japan or Korea, I'm not saying that the new forms are bad, especially Taekwondo forms are bad, because I'll be elitist here. I think General Choi's forms are the best. Of all the forms I've studied, I think General Choi's arrangement for his Chang Han series is the best. I do. I don't think the others are worthless, but for me, that's just my personal preference and opinion. Those are the ones I felt like pushing me the most. Even when I've dabbled in some of the Chinese systems. I like what General Choi did. But I still think everybody can go back and benefit from learning the Pinan series, which I do know I have to dust it off. Might be a little bit of a problem, but not really. The Pinan series in Okinawan karate is worth your time. And the Nahanchi Shodan in Nina. Going back and learning those forms, because once you've seen those forms, if you study for a little bit, then when you come back to your Taekwondo or your Tang Sudo, you're going to see, especially in Tang Sudo, you're going to see how all that stuff fits together. And then when you look at what General Choi did, it's going to be like, so he took this from that and that from this, he took this from Basai, and he just expanded it, changed the pattern, and really opened it up to a whole bunch of different possibilities. And then you can see where he went after other styles too. So by studying what came before you, that's what your forms enable you to do. Listen to your teacher's war stories from time to time, not just the ones we put on YouTube, but take time to talk to them. You may learn a lot. But on this channel, I'm probably preaching to the converted. So, are you down on the state of film scoring as you are on pop? Well, that's pretty much the same thing again. He's talking about people are being lazy, and they don't want to go back and look at the stuff that came before. And that's another thing we're always also guilty of too. Here we go. Again, when you say film composers are lazy, what does that mean exactly in this context? It means they're not going back and listening to what Bernard Herrmann did, what anyone else did. You know, a lot of people like to go back and look at what Bruce Lee did, but go back and look at what Yip Man did. Go back and look at what Kano did. Go back and look at what Ueshiba did. Go back and look at what Wing Chun did. Go back and look at what everybody did that came before you. Go back and look at what Muhammad Ali did. Okay? And the legends that are still with us. Go back and look at what George Dillman did and does. Go back and look at what Jean LaBelle did. Okay? Go back and look at what Victor Moore did. Go back and look at what Steve Muhammad did. Go back and look at what people have done. You may learn something. Matter of fact, I used to use this combination when I competed locally, and I was guaranteed to always place when I competed Tuxedo locally. I used Bill Wallace's technique. I read some articles about what he did, and I used it. Came in handy. So let's see, what else is there? Now this is good. He says, "You're talking about the business of music, but, and I mean disrespectfully, don't some of your thoughts about music fall under the category of back in my day?" So he's trying to sneak diss Quincy Jones and say he's old, right? Listen to this. Music principles exist, man. Musicians today can't go all the way with the music because they haven't done their homework with the left brain. Music is emotion and science. You don't have to practice emotion because that comes naturally. Technique is different. If you can't get your finger between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 on the piano, you can't play. You can only get so far without technique. People limit themselves musically, man. Do musicians know tango, macumba, Yoruba music, samba, bossa nova, salsa, cha-cha? No, cha-cha. When I did music, I studied, like, I listened to all types of styles. I used to hang out with the drummer because I felt like that would help when I was playing a trombone. I felt like hanging out with the rhythm section would help me get in tune with them when I soloed, and it did. And when I was rapping, I felt like hanging out with the drummers would help me learn more rhythms than it did. I learned about all different types of African rhythms. And I used to study John Coltrane's stuff. And I even had a copy of the Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns. If you know what I'm talking about, look it up. But the same thing applies to martial arts too. It's not just a back in my day thing. Technique is what's going to help you be able to move and function when you get older, as I'm finding out, as 50 is coming. So I'm just going to do this for martial arts. Martial arts principles exist, man. Martial arts today can't go all the way with the martial arts because they haven't done their homework with the left brain. Martial arts is emotion and science. I would say martial arts is emotion, motion, movement, and science. They can't go all the way because they haven't done their homework with the left brain. You have to practice, you don't have to practice emotion and sometimes emotion too, motion, movement, because that comes naturally. Okay? What you have to practice are those unnatural techniques that you don't like. Those things that you don't like to do, those techniques that hurt, not damaging, but you know you don't like to do it because you're not that good at it. I always find that practicing those techniques makes everything else better. Even if I suck at that technique, it makes my strong techniques better. And once you get your body worked out to where you know what the limits of your body are, then you can get creative with the mind in terms of your self-defense technique. It's like, as my high kicks, not necessarily what they used to be, but then I started finding that my low kicks got a lot better, where I would feel comfortable kicking even cold has gotten a lot better. Just going over the fundamentals and doing the things that I find difficult to do. So check out the Quincy Jones interview. Yeah, I mean, he spends a lot of time talking smack about people. But if you want to learn from a master craftsperson, a master of his craft, so you can be better at your craft, go get past the cursing and the insults and listen to the wisdom that he drops. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share it with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Peace.